Once again, Berlin and players around the world, it's time to welcome our final two teams here at Worlds 2019. From North America's LCS, stepping onto the global stage for the 7th time, please welcome Cloud9! In the top lane, Licorice. Jungle, Svenskeren. Mid, Nisqy. Bot lane, Sneaky. Support, Zeysal. Coach, Reap It, and substitute Blabber and Deftly. And facing them after fighting their way through the play-in stage, I'd like to welcome Hong Kong Attitude! In the top lane, 3Z. Jungle, Crash. Mid lane, Mission. Bot lane, Unifies. Support, Kaiwing. Coach, Showy, and substitute M&M. It's time to get this clash between Cloud9 and Hong Kong Attitude underway. Players, take your seats.
And there they go. First time we see Cloud9 and Hong Kong Attitude in the World's group stage. Of course, HKA worked their way up through the play-ins.
Yeah, they certainly did. And I mean, some mixed results there, was, fairly contested for them, I think, at times, it's fair to say. But, they are here on the main stage. They are going to have the opportunity to prove themselves here against Cloud9, and they're in an extremely difficult group. Both of these teams, to be honest, coming into the group have been largely counted out, and I think they're going to have to prove to this scene that they deserve to be here and that they can compete with these top teams.
But that is the consistent part of Cloud9.
Mm-hmm.
They always overcome that peril and get out of group stage. So that's something they have to count for themselves. They come in, of course, after a very hard-fought LCS final. And I think to most people, we kind of come in, we're like, okay, it's going to be a stroll in the park for Cloud9. But the reality of that is only felt when we hit the Rift, and FPX are the best counterexample that things can still go all wrong.
I mean, honestly, there's so many times in NA history where the team that is counted out as oh, that's the easy game.
I'm new to this NA stuff as well. You gotta tell me about this.
You're gonna have to get used to some losses, Papa Smithy. There's some heartbreak. It hurts at times, but
to EU, I'm just saying.
Cloud9 in the end, they usually do get out of groups. It's interesting to note though, this is like the first time in really a long time that they haven't actually been coming through play-in, right? They always kind of fight their way through play-in and manage to have so much success anyway, despite being an incredibly difficult group last year, making it all the way to the semifinals while starting in play-ins.
And they've cited play-ins as an advantage, so potentially it's going to be a new start for Cloud9, as I guess they also want to play some Renekton, because they're slamming the Quinn band straight up.
Yeah, I'm going to be really interested to see what kind of a style we see come out from Cloud9, because traditionally they are always, the kind of really aggressive, creative team. Reaper getting so much credit in North America, and internationally for a lot of their success. Oftentimes when we look at the failures of North American teams at Worlds, it is because they don't adapt. And Cloud9 always has been one to adapt. So, whether that means they will be slowing down the pace, as we have seen so many other teams do, or speeding it up, and marching to the beat of their own drum remains to be seen.
But people at home, as Cloud9 play more games, I want you to look at the bans, because if you remember last year's Worlds, they kind of had to play at a handicap where there were multiple meta picks they couldn't play on blue and red side, and that really cost them. That's kind of been the Cloud9 way, is if the players like don't want this one, don't like this one, they leave it to one side. So that's of course only day one, but something to think about. Cloud9 really like what they do play, and they avoid what they don't.
And if you haven't seen, Cloud9 play regionally this year, you may be, new to seeing Nisqy on this squad, right? Jensen obviously leaving, joining TL after making it to semifinals at Worlds with Cloud9. And Nisqy not only has kind of filled that shoes, but Cloud9 now very much plays around him. So much of Cloud9's success is based on jungle mid 2v2, Svenskeren, the North American MVP, Nisqy playing incredibly aggressive, and something like the Qiyana really does fit the bill. Cloud9 love to get advantages in that mid 2v2, utilizing Svenskeren's powerful early game, and then take it elsewhere on the map. And that is generally how they get their bot lane going, how they get into that team fight stage.
They do go the route of the Elise, and you would expect an AP jungler alongside what we assuming will be Renekton, Qiyana, and potentially the players picking champions for themselves. Will be Sven's first Elise of the summer season. Obviously a pick he's played in previous metas, but not necessarily a pick that Cloud9 have gravitated towards, and the Qiyana's still there to be grabbed if they want it.
So is the Heimerdinger, though. I'm not going to talk about that.
I'd be hyped.
Oh, let's go. Yeah.
All right, so this, I am expecting to be Heimerdinger bot for Sneaky. This is a pick that I actually was talking about earlier with Griffin, and it has been getting played in solo queue. You have been seeing people practicing this up. It is considered quite a strong bot lane duo. Even back when you think to, some of the previous G2 bot lane days, they were playing this as well. So, will allow you to have that mage bot. Traditionally, in a lot of the games that I've been hearing, people are pairing it with some of these marksman picks in one of the solo lanes. So I'd be interested to see if they do go for something like a Lucian, as the Tristana has already been taken away, to pair alongside it and still maintain that AD damage.
And it's feeling already a bit mad scientist for Cloud9, because you start looking at, their tendencies so far, and they've played no Renekton games, no Elise games, no Heimerdinger games. This is some mad scientist stuff, and I'm excited to see if it all fits, because we said Heimerdinger was going to come out in our OP or INT segment before we started off World's group stage, and yet it really does feel like you're good at it or you're not so good at it. It's very much going to be user error.
Does mean that we have some slightly strange bans from Hong Kong Attitude in the second phase. The Qiyana and the Pyke still removed. Of course, Qiyana could go to the mid lane. Pyke could be played as a support alongside the Heimerdinger. Cloud9 will get rid of the Veigar and the Kai'Sa, because that Tristana is probably flexing either to top or mid.
Yeah, and the other thing we do have to remember, although I am kind of calling this out as a bot lane pick, there is the possibility of this being a Heimer mid there for Nisqy and still playing a more standard marksman bot. Cloud9 do kind of reserve the right to make that move over. Yuumi, still available, will be locked in here, and can work very well alongside some of these divers. When you look at the Gragas, when you look at the Akali, that can be a very dangerous pairing when it comes to team fight time. Akali flying in with this Yuumi ultimate, rooting people in place.
Divers against Heimerdinger, though, can definitely be heavily punished. Let's see how Cloud9 round out their draft. I'm greedy. I want 2 more unique picks. Let's go all new on the group stage. This doesn't look new.
No, it doesn't look new. Nautilus has been around for a while, and it looks like it's going to get locked in for Cloud9. I do want to bring up the option of a Garen bottom lane for Hong Kong Attitude. It means you have pretty good sustain. Heimerdinger, yes, he'll push you in, but you don't lose that matchup too much, and you can scale up.
Yeah, it certainly is possible. That being said, doesn't have to be the option here for HKA. We could also see, them bring the Tristana theoretically down to that bottom lane if they want to go that route. They do have a lot of options. I like the Irelia here for Cloud9. I'm expecting this to be flexed between mid and top, very likely. Both Renekton and the Irelia are very powerful, in those solo lanes when paired up with the Elise. More likely, I think, to see the Renekton top, try to facilitate some of those tower dives, but Lucian Yuumi, kind of an old NA special. This is what was considered very popular in the early days as somewhat of an aggressive lane that could really be sped up. But Sivir I do really like as an answer, perhaps into Heimer. It's going to be none of them, so it will be the Garen. Interesting.
And it's another melee champion to potentially funnel into one of those super mega death turrets that the Heimerdinger can put down. So, team fighting wise, execution will have to be pretty instantaneous. Gragas and Akali coming at the same time. We got the confirmation. Nisqy has been the most likely to pick up the Irelia joint his most played in summer season and actually Zeysal's first Nautilus game. So overall, it's 4 first times, and yet I actually like where the five champions come together, unless Hong Kong and Attitude can get their snowball on.
Yeah, and my question really is going to be, for Cloud9, are they able to kind of push the pace? Are they able to find the team fights that they will need? Because this is not a sieging comp, right? This is a comp that has to kill you, then take the objectives, generally speaking. You can go to neutrals like the Baron, utilize the Heimer there, and try to have kind of a pre-set up area, but Hong Kong Attitude have a very easy siege when you're looking at poke from the Yuumi, the Garen to zone, Tristana to walk up and work away on those turrets. So I do think a lot is going to come down to how well Cloud9 work with their soul lanes and their jungler. And Svenskeren has been incredible for them this year, so I'm excited to see how he can perform here.
Cloud9 have only ever missed missed quarterfinals once. Hong Kong Attitude, last time they were here, they fell out in play-ins. Let's see what they can do today. On to Summoner's Rift for the last game of the day. Last two teams to play in the group stage. Last two to show us what they have brought to Berlin, Germany. The second seed from North America, the third seed from the LMS.
Very healthy Cloud9 cheer here in Berlin. North America, Worlds, and Cloud9 are so intrinsically linked because they have always been the most reliable performing team at the World Championship. Speaking of reliable performing, Renekton Elise tells you a story about topside pressure. We'll see if 3Z can be very much on the economy of specifically using his Shroud. Otherwise, the kills can come thick and fast.
Certainly can. And something else worth pointing out is that Nisqy not only has he gone a combat summoner, it is the exhaust. So taking the exhaust here, perhaps thinking that he may be ending up, against the Akali in a 1v1 later on, can be very effective there. But also for this Tristana, because while people think of Tristana as this hyper-scaling late-game champion, in the solo lanes with the Ignite, you can get very aggressive with that rocket jump. And when you are up against someone who has that exhaust, it becomes incredibly risky to look for those sorts of plays. So certainly see if they can play around that.
And while Tristana fits the archetype of kind of a squishier champion that Irelia can burst at level 6 with Ignite, she has so many forms of disengage. Flash, rocket jump is like half of mid lane because it's a short lane, and the ultimate as well, the buster shot. Not going to be a reliable all-in, so I don't mind the exhaust for some 2v2 utility.
Yeah, and that's where it's going to come, right? It's not going to be so much about the 1v1 unless Nisqy is massively ahead and can one-round him. It's going to be about Svenskeren and Nisqy pairing up, layering the cocoon as well as that stun, then trying to burst him down, chase him down. And if you can get those sorts of advantages, you can really start to take over the map and look to snowball bot, where we're going to see Sneaky setting up this turret line and looking to create a permanent push on this turret to whittle away at those turrets, because it's so difficult to actually engage forward into this.
I mean, I just look at this game and I say, if I'm Svenskeren, I'm licking my lips. These are three great lanes to gank for. Maybe mid lane is a bit more situational than top and bot, but this is top tier when it comes to gankable lanes. So Svenskeren's path, things on point, and we're talking about the MVP of the summer season of the LCS. It's going to be a lot to like here, a lot to work with, so it's very much on Sven. 2 camp spot side, both big buffs claimed on his first invasion round.
Looks at the moment to just be getting some vision on where Crash is on that Gragas. We'll spot him out at the Krugs.
Yeah, and he's just pinging him out. They didn't know he was there, but they're actually looking for this, and Crash is fairly low, so he will have to back off very likely. Actually, smiting a small Krug there just for the heal to try to prepare for any potential dive that could have come through. So that alone may help to dissuade this, and Crash is now going to have to defend 3Z as he tries to pick up as much farm as possible.
Super polished move from Cloud9 where Licorice slow pushes as Svenskeren's pathing is Krugs at worst and maybe a kill at best. So very much going to be a topside domination. No defensive scuttle crab for Crash to pick up to even give any extra information to 3Z.
Yeah, and if Svenskeren wanted to go for it, he could actually potentially double scuttle, right? He already has the top one. You're going to have perma push on this bottom side. Preferential recall here for Nisqy already complete as well. going back early on, grabbing that rejuve beat in the Doran's going to be working towards his Tiamat. So, the potential to grab both of those, but it is Crash pathing straight down there. So this is a bit of a risky scuttle as we actually see, he hit the vision plant. So they now know he's here. We'll see if C9 wants to collapse, and bot lane is actually coming up.
Bot lane's on its way up. Nisqy has the push
no
in
smite.
the mid. No smite, but I believe Crash should just be able to secure this. Has enough awareness of exactly where C9 were.
So the call off by Svenskeren came in. If he didn't take his wolves, his jungle path would have been awkward, so really wanted to actually return, come through, and have a safer future clear. It gives up a scuttle, but definitely not the biggest objective.
Hong Kong Attitude coming through planes, of course, defeated Icarus Gaming from the Latino America League. First time we've seen both of those regions join up together, but Hong Kong Attitude were able to take the win in a pretty convincing fashion. They didn't really have to show too much against the Latin America counterparts, and Hook's not quite going to connect here from Zeysal. Unified and Kaiwing very happy to be on the receiving end of shove here in the bottom lane. They're just accepting the wave as it gets towards them and not losing out too much.
Yeah, exactly. And while this is kind of the perma push on the bottom side, which is perhaps giving Svenskeren more of an ability to have some options for his ganks, they are not denying a lot of farm, right? The farm is essentially dead even here, so Sneaky is moving up that turret line, and I think they are trying to be able to punish and grab those turret plates a little bit more. The initial turret line was set up actually about midway through that lane, and now moving it forward, perhaps trying to punish.
The cost of that pushing is the fact that A, the CS is being safely claimed by the melee Garen, and Kaiwing is also going to be getting plenty of gold on his AP support items, so because of that, he'll be probably online with plenty of AP stack as the game goes on. Again, I look at the Heimer and think if the Heimer's not silenced and killed, not really sure how much that matters.
Yeah, definitely the case. I mean, you talked about all this dive, all these people that want to go through, and if Heimer is able to build towards the zonies, get the ultimate turret down, these sorts of things, it becomes incredibly dangerous if you cannot one round this guy and knock him down very, very quickly. But Crash has actually snuck up into that top lane. There were assist pings up there from Licorice, so I think he may have some idea that the jungler could be around, and Svenskeren is pathing up that way. But Crash for now, not looking for the gank, more just looking to defend any potential dive.
Svenskeren is up here. You can see Nisqy on his way up as well. Has the exhaust if they do look for a full-on dive. Svenskeren cuts the wave pushing in. There's only 6 minions, and 3Z and Crash should be pretty good at just clearing these ones out.
Yeah, I've got to give a lot of credit to Crash. Honestly, has really understood where Svenskeren would be and the timings at which 3Z will be in danger, right? When that wave is being stacked and slowly pushed in, that is where you are most at risk, especially without teleport. If 3Z dies there, that's devastating, and they dissuade that. And also, Mission able to grab that turret plate mid.
Pops the Vanguard's edge here.
Oh, nice.
It's the disengage we talked about. Too easy. Rocket jump, buster shot. Even had the flash in his back pocket.
Crash's pathing got a turret play. That's half a kill. That's a really nice pickup there from the side of Hong Kong Attitude. So you have to like how well concepted that was. Mid lane exhaust actually used.
Yeah, Ignite goes down onto Nisqy here, but Nisqy gets the kill. Will fall in return. 1-for-1 trade in the mid lane.
Yeah, really aggressive play there. That's the kind of stuff that has made a name for Nisqy in North America. Fully confident to go in for it. The wave, though, I'm not sure if it's going to fully reach Mission's turret. I think eventually it will push in. And they are trying to pressure down here on this bottom side. Second plate goes their way.
Actually pretty greedy by the Gragas. He goes for Scuttle over trying to reset the minion wave in mid, and it will be so many creeps lost to mid lane. There was an initial ping, and it seemed like Crash overrided his mid laner, gave it up.
Yeah, I thought he was going to sit there, either reset or even just hold, right? If you freeze that wave for your mid laner, the trade of kills is not bad or can even be beneficial, right? You can get an experience and a gold lead despite the fact that it was the first blood going over to Nisqy. But in this case, the minion wave crashes, and here it is one more time. The ultimate was already used, and that is just a beautiful setup there from Nisqy, and no hesitation. He knows his limits.
I believe he also timed out the rocket jump, and that's why it wasn't used in this play. And again, it seems like nitpicking talking about the minion wave not being picked up, but it was slow pushing in. There was a ping on it, and that was actually the reason why the 1-for-1 was preferential for Cloud9, was that the minions were very unlikely to be picked up by Mission.
I think we can be nitpicky on a world stage. It's the little things that matter in games like this, especially when you have Griffin and G2 in your group and you know wins against teams like Hong Kong Attitude can totally change the landscape of your possibility of qualifying for those quarterfinals.
Yeah, I mean, people have really talked about this game, you know, as such an important one for both these two teams because the other two opponents are so monumental, so strong in this group that you really do need to get wins wherever you can get them if you want to try to scrape up enough wins to perhaps upset someone and then have a chance of getting out.
And that's the story today. Now, if Griffin can't back up a performance, then who's to say that actually some of their internal struggles with their late change in coach means that ends up being some fake news. But for now, it does appear to be the story. Cloud9, just know it's a simple equation of needing to win here and not relying on other results.
Well, almost 10 minutes into this game, they have about a 700 gold lead. Svenskeren has been all around the map, hasn't really found perhaps those early connections we wanted. Him and Licorice teaming up, him and Nisqy teaming up, but there are still opportunities for this Elise to make plays around the map.
And I think more than you know, a mistake from Svenskeren, it's a credit to Crash, who has just played this beautifully, who has been where he needed to be, expecting him, but this may be Crash face checking.
Going straight onto Crash. Crash falls solo. The stun lands onto Nisqy, but already Crash is down. Nisqy pushed back. Mission tried to trade in, but Zeysal on his way up means that Mission can't do anything more.
Turns out Crash handed in this assignment a little bit late. Only partial credit, guys, to him on this early game. Should be worth mentioning that Cloud9 will back that up with a Mountain Drake and the implied pressure of the hard CC with Svenskeren has got CS leads in multiple lanes.
And we're going to have to see that again because I think Crash was like a split second away from the stopwatch being active.
Yep.
That was just before the 10-minute mark where it comes online. So I do believe he died shortly before that. Otherwise, perhaps, you know, would have had the tools necessary to delay long enough or survive even. But it is Cloud9 getting a big kill. And we aren't actually going to get to see the clock here, so we won't know exactly. But I do believe this was seconds before that 10-minute mark, and it'll net them the kill, it'll net them the dragon.
Hard to say whether he would have lived through it, but he definitely
Very
would have
hard.
pressed the button, right? At the end of the day, Cloud9 do pick up that kill, the CS lead up to 16 in top, 14 in mid, things falling into place. It's not the greatest trade ever for Akali.
I think it's looking very good.
No Shroud, he wants it.
Licorice looking for the 1v1 in the top lane. 3Z jumps away, but Licorice, Curl the Meat, not going to have enough damage. Now flashes away, the flash chase from 3Z! Svenskeren on his way, though. He's trying to answer to the death of his top laner. 3Z pops the Shuriken, gets cocooned, and Sven sinks in the fangs.
Yeah, nicely cleaned up there by Svenskeren, but Licorice miscalculating a little bit. Perhaps had the E on cooldown, couldn't actually have the slice and dice for the damage. Thought he could make the dive happen when the Shroud was on cooldown there, but taking too much damage from the turret and the Akali ultimate being available meant he was able to have it turn around.
First idea, we commend him on. The execution, not so hot, but all's well that ends well. Pushes in a wave, gets a Rift Herald. See if Hong Kong Attitude can make a bot lane all-in to actually make Cloud9 play. Does not look like that will be the case.
Looks like Svenskeren is going to get the Rift Herald for himself, though. And with a Mountain Drake and a Rift Herald, C9 have had very strong objective control early on in this game. Still got a couple of minutes to use that Herald as well before the plates fall off.
And I'm going to be very interested to see if he actually does commit this to the top side of the map. You know, if you want to put that solo gold perhaps on Licorice, try to get first turret, try to get some extra plates there, and put him more comfortably in the advantage. And it is going to be the play. So I do expect him to actually allow this to be solo gold, but if they want to push immediately for that first turret and Nisqy's roaming up, I think instead they'll just try to make sure they secure this turret here.
Rift Herald's going to charge in. 3Z underneath it, goes into the Twilight Shroud. Licorice maybe looking for the stun. Used it on a minion instead. Svenskeren switches forms and just pushes out the way.
I actually really like ending the laning phase of Akali, who hasn't mainlined Gunblade. The Seeker's Arm Guard delaying the Gunblade timing, that one item power spike we know and love, means that it's going to be a while till Akali has that same burst threat to the back line. And that means that C9 will continue to just have combat advantages in their items. And first rotation is very clear. They're very deep.
It certainly is, and I think they're really trying to set up here for a potential dive. They have wrapped around. They are waiting to try to catch Mission on his way back to this turret here. And if Mission mispositions, there is a possibility, but they are going to call it off, backing off, not knowing where some of these members on the map are. And Crash being absent does make it a risky play to look for.
Turret plates for Irelia in the Tristana matchup. It's music to the ears of Cloud9 fans. And wherever Crash goes, there's definitely plenty of spoilers available for C9.
And I think what C9 really is going to be looking towards is this next Infernal, right? You know, try to get as much gold in your pockets right now as you can. Look to reset in about a minute. Have that vision prepped. Have the most powerful buys you can get. And really look to kind of stake your claim in that area. Because if they can get to the Infernal early, set up Sneaky's turrets, I think it'll be very difficult for HKA to kind of engage into that.
At the moment, Cloud9 with leads in the top and the mid lane. Bot lane is relatively even if you add up both the bot laners and the support's gold, which is, of course, what you have to do when you're playing a Yuumi Garen lane. But now with a Black Cleaver on Licorice, with almost a Trinity Force on Nisqy, Cloud9 will be very strong around that Infernal Drake.
I wonder if there's ever going to be a moment when Mission could dive in. And speaking of diving in, we're seeing attempted an all-in.
Crash is on his way. You can see Zeysal was the one looking for the engage. The knockback's actually going to land onto Sneaky, but really, this is just HKA trying to clear out the wave. They will then come up as a 3-man group, maybe look to gain control over that river.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to actually look for is just kind of the control in that area. But what I'm wondering, I don't think that the Gragas ultimate is now going to be up for the spawn of this Infernal. So the question is, was that worthwhile? Sneaky's ultimate is a shorter cooldown and he has more CDR, so likely will have that available. And Svenskeren looking for the counterpunch down here on this bottom side.
Walks onto a ward. It was controlled, so Svenskeren able to now clear that one out. And with 30 seconds on the clock before the Infernal, you can see where C9 Mind is.
They're playing towards timers everywhere. Licorice knows the jungle's been drawn. Bot side, well, I'll go steal a red buff. The 30 seconds before Infernal Drake is when the Elise shows, well, I'll get river control if I'm not getting a gank. So many bloodless objectives being hacked one by one. Is Licorice in 3Z?
Gonna trade just a little bit.
Yeah, Licorice will have to back off. This is actually so interesting. Hong Kong Attitude doesn't look like they even want to challenge this, right? They're actually sending Garen Yuumi to the mid lane, so Svenskeren, by all means, could just start this up. They are going to try to take away some jungle camps on the top side and look to actually pressure that top lane turret, with the rotation of Mission up there, looking to just get some gold immediately as they don't feel they can challenge.
They just don't feel like they can re-invade a weak side against stacks of CC.
Yeah.
That part I don't mind. Unfortunately, where the trade-ups are coming are a little bit more nebulous. Side of Hong Kong Attitude feels like they're bleeding out a little bit here in terms of gold lead. Around 3,300, although Mission will feel happy about the turret.
Nisqy looking just to push up this mid lane. And as you say, the great thing, I think, if you're a Cloud9 fan looking at this game, is the bloodless gold lead that they've had. Yes, they've been 5 kills in the game, but they haven't gained this gold lead by going for heavy skirmish fights. They haven't gained it by trying to catch HKA out of position. All they've done is slowly play the map a lot better than Hong Kong Attitude.
Yeah, they certainly have, and they've utilized their pressure advantages in their lanes to take away buffs, to take away camps when they can, and get turret plates, take the Rift Herald, these sorts of things. My question for C9 really is going to be how well can you close out this game, right? Are you able to do that? Because I have faith that, a player like Nisqy, who's known for learning these new champions, can learn a Heimerdinger well for lane, but can you master the late game team fights?
Cocoon doesn't hit there onto 3Z. He goes into the Twilight Shroud, going to try and jump away, but the rest of Cloud9 are on their way. HKA looking for the fight. The belly bot comes in, flash forward. There's the explosive cask as well, but already Crash has fallen. Mission jumps in. Mission looking to flash out. Here comes Unified from the side with Kaiwing by his side. You can see Licorice going in. The exhaust comes down onto him. Unified still has his flash, and Cloud9 might back away here. They don't want any more of this fight.
Not enough bark behind the bite of the Garen, so able to trade evenly in the moment that Sneaky joined. Well, that was going to be the end of it from the side of Hong Kong Attitude. C9 continue to push. They can continue to try to pressure. And what do Hong Kong Attitude actually claim here? Definitely nothing in terms of map control.
Yeah, not much at all, but they do get, I would say, the more beneficial kill. They knock down Nisqy, and they get another kill onto their Tristana here. Mission, working towards that Zeal second item. It is not going to be straight into the IE. Likely will go for that third. But Sneaky and Zeysal here trying to keep up the pressure, trying to get as much turret damage as they can and balloon that gold lead.
You can see continuing just to push in this bottom lane. Zeysal is running the Demolish on Nautilus, so if he can get close, he can chip away at that tower pretty rapidly. Damage coming down onto Crash. The rockets hitting from Sneaky. Unified able to clear against Licorice in the mid lane, but Nisqy's on his way. He's going to dash forward. Won't go any further.
Such deep vision on the side of Cloud9 in the enemy blue buff area means just relative safety in Svenskeren there. So give a hug to the duo laners if they need it. So pushing up and slowly, incrementally getting advantages, and Gragas and the mid laner sharing experience in CS where they can.
Ooh, Licorice narrowly avoiding that shuriken flip. I feel like 3Z could have actually done the reverse shuriken flip and just get on top of him with the Q to perhaps play that out, and knowing, if he had the timer, that the ultimate would be on cooldown. But still setting up shop here on that bottom side. They have vision around this turret. They're going to take away the blue buff.
Oh, I think it went to Nautilus.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does go over to Nautilus, but
as a support main, I'm very happy with that. I think that's fine.
You can E-spam for days.
Yeah, chuck out more Qs in the lane. It's fine.
Might have been Nautilus picking up the kill and Nisqy getting it. Hard to tell, but they've both got blues at the moment. Pushing through here, and it seemed inevitable that an inner turret would fall. It goes down, and Hong Kong Attitude just aren't getting reverse map plays to stem the bleeding.
This is the thing, right? Usually what we talk about is playing to the other side of the map, understanding what you have to give up. Unified in a little bit of trouble, but I've seen enough Garen Yuumi to know he can pretty much run away until the dredge line connects. Here comes Crash, knocked back. Sneaky's going to join the fight as well, but Unified's still alive, and Nisqy's died underneath the tower. He will pay with his life. C9 still chasing. They'll take down Crash at the end of the fight.
It is just the 1-for-1, but C9 going to try to continue this push. They will be dissuaded by this Garen Yuumi, and as you say, so hard to actually fully engage into that. There's so many melee champions here on Cloud9, and as you're diving forward, you're entering the Yuumi ultimate, you're getting rooted up, and Garen is so tanky and so hard to actually lock down with this cat attached to him.
It's just where you're frustrated, right? Because you really want to be taking down this mid lane avatar. It's the only thing that is outstanding when it comes to early game balance, but as we outlined earlier, they don't have the same tools.
They're looking.
To do that. In mid lane,
Licorice coming in, unspotted on a control ward, looking for Unified. Unified, no flash, no escape for the moment. Pops the courage, trying to get away. Jumped off from Kaiwing, jumped back in. Licorice knocked away with the buster shot, and still Unified survives.
Yeah, just a well-timed W there from the Garen. The disable reduction, if you time that well. The CC lasts almost not any time at all. So as soon as he actually had that on the Renekton stun, there really wasn't going to be enough lockdown to take him out, but it does cost Mission both his summoners, and C9 looking relentless around this mid lane.
3Z's trying to get in behind them here, perhaps has found the flank position. The Akali with the perfect execution available. Cloud9 still unable to take down that mid lane tower, still with a 3,000 gold lead. 21 minutes in, the Mountain Drake now spawned. Cloud9 have fought around both the dragons so far this game. 3Z's run down towards the bottom side, separated from his squad. But HKA still able to defend. Now, they don't have the inside track. This tower should fall.
and it's smart of C9 to just double down on the mid lane, on the visible. Here's the ult.
Final chapter coming down, and look at the damage already on Zeysal. He's gone. So has the tower, but
Here
Hong
comes
Kong
3Z.
might look for more of the fight. 3Z. If you had the stun on the ult, I think 3Z goes in there, but that's being patched out.
Oh, Cloud9 are actually looking to try to threaten the Baron, as we see that Hong Kong's attitude is going down to this dragon. Cloud9 are at least trying to force a response, perhaps pull them off it. They do have the Heimer, which is pretty quick, but this would be way too risky with this Garen Yuumi in the area.
Unified gonna face check straight into the cocoon, but once again, slow on the disables. Unified gets away. Licorice on the backline. 3Z jumping in the Twilight Shroud, has to dash away. Dragon goes down. HKA get it. And C9 do not get a kill. Once again, Hong Kong Attitude standing tall here in these mid lane fights.
C9 try to bait Hong Kong Attitude away from the Drake. 4v5, not gonna get it. They don't start it, nothing invested.
Oh.
They're gonna go for it now. Remember, they don't have the Heimerdinger ult to get this faster.
Yeah, they don't, and HKA likely going to spot it out. Unified in the area, but they were kind of counting on the fact that they would have thought they would reset, but this is going down so quickly. Are they going to commit? Crash is here.
Crash has a blast cone. Crash has an ultimate. Crash has a smite. Could look through
gotta
it
pull
here.
off.
Svenskeren is low. Unified once again on the front line. Flawless duet stuns him up, but that Baron now has reset, and HKA can continue to chase in. Sneaky has to flash away. The final chapter did not find its mark, but Cloud9 are pushed away from the river.
Yeah, Cloud9 do get pushed back. I like the attempt because that would have been a normal reset timing there for Cloud9. So they were kind of banking on the fact that HKA would say, yeah, they went back to base, don't need to check. Some members are on the map. And that is one of the strengths of the Heimerdinger. If you ignore him and allow him to get those turrets set up, the Baron dies so incredibly quickly. But as Papa Smithy pointed out, the ultimate wasn't available there for Nisqy, so it wasn't quite fast enough.
And I think C9 fans have been chewing their nails there because the Baron health got down to 3,000. You saw a smart, measured early game just fade into irrelevance if the Baron was a 50-50. Do note that only now is stopwatch completed for Nisqy. Did not go for Zhonya's second, so his positioning can be a bit more aggressive because he has a couple of note buttons now, including that stopwatch.
Yeah, certainly can and needed, honestly, after having to blow the flash in the last fight. Also worth noting, though, is this Yuumi's items. When you look over at Kaiwing, he is really escalating into this game. You get so much additional gold generation from the support item on the Garen, as well as this early Frostfang. Papa Smithy touched on this lane with the pushing lane, being able to kind of farm the gold off of Zeysal. And he is getting to that danger zone. These Qs from Yuumi really do start to hurt. And if C9 gets poked down really at all before a fight, you no longer can go for that hard engage.
We kept talking about C9 wanting to pull Hong Kong Attitude into fights as the game progresses, wanting to get them towards these neutral objectives. So far, C9 haven't found really the engages that they'd like. Jump away here by Mission as the depth charge came out, but Svenskeren's already fallen. Licorice with the dominance down towards the bottom side of the fight is going to try and get onto 3Z. Stuns him up with Ruthless Predator, but HKA are chasing him from the top. 3Z not separated from his team any longer, but pulled back with a dredge line. Dashes away with the flip, and HKA get a kill and get out.
Yeah, they just don't have the damage to kill this Garen, and he is the only target that is presenting himself. Unified is just running in their face with this Yuumi, and Cloud9 do not have the consistent damage really without a marksman to actually burst him down.
And the gold lead that was almost 4,000 is now under 2. 1,500 gold lead here for C9, and unless they can find a way to break through this Garen line, they are going to struggle for the rest of the game.
I feel like they need to go to the side lanes, right? You've seen they cannot actually break through this Garen. He is going to continue to be so damn pesky, so you need to take the Irelia and the Renekton, start to split the map, get vision control, look for picks with your Nautilus and Elise as people are moving back and forth across this map, and stop just trying to run straight at HKA.
And as the game goes on, eventually Tristana has 6 items. And that is a very scary marksman. That is the one counterpoint to the 4 dive buddies having to try to get through a Heimerdinger. And that's where HKA will ramp up. Now, that was not necessarily going to be relevant with how well C9 played the first 18 minutes of the game. The past 7, the settling has come in. And like you say, I often think that Garen, both in lane with the Yuumi, but then in this mid-game for the Tristana, is a bit of sleight of hand. It invites aggro, you target it, you don't get much out of it. And as the timer goes on, there's all sorts of gold that are coming in, so the only way to split the map is to go 3 lanes and then look for maybe a cheeky Baron start involving the Heimerdinger.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, as much as Heimerdinger is great when people are diving in at you, HKA doesn't need to, right? They're content to just sit back, poke with the Yuumi, wait for the Tristana. They are scaling. They are very happy with how these last few minutes have gone. This next Infernal, I'm going to be very curious to see if HKA actually wants to contest it. Cloud9 certainly want to get that big neutral objective. You can see assist pings coming over. They want to start getting vision. Licorice has pushed out the bottom lane. And Cloud9 trying to establish neutral objectives while they're still in control.
Areas of priority have been the whole game for Cloud9, but turning that into future objectives has proven difficult recently. As mid lane, we're getting some brawling.
He chunked out once again. Svenskeren's on his way. Unified down to half HP. They're trying to take Kaiwing. They take him out before he can jump back onto one of his teammates, and now Unified is the next target. Nisqy flashing forward, can't quite find it. Unified flashes away, but 3Z is coming in from the side, perhaps looking for a flank position.
Finally able to actually bite on their fishing expeditions. They got away from the Garens. They're going to get the Infernal for certain. That was what they've been looking for, the better part of the last 10 minutes.
And this double Infernal really is going to help to answer the Tristana's damage in that later game. There's a lot of damage being bought up here by Cloud9. This is not a multi-tank team. You have a full AP jungler. You have 3 members across the map that are building a lot of AD and AP. And Nisqy is just going to continue sitting on the stopwatch. Looks like he wants to go towards the death cap, recognizing Garen is building armor. We need someone who's going to be able to put out consistent damage and actually threaten this front line so that Unified cannot play with just reckless abandon.
And it's the most power now. I actually think both Void Staff and Zone Use are going to be very important here, but the most damage right now for that killer Baron that just really shuts down a lot of what Garen Yuumi is able to do. Don't mind the build at all. Did not need to go into the Zone Use this early with how much safety Sneaky's been playing under. Now really it is all about the Baron. I think the Baron goes down, so do Hong Kong Attitude.
You can see where the damage is coming from on either side. Sneaky, highest damage in the game on this Heimerdinger. Of course, laning into a Garen will help you do that. And Kaiwing on the other side, twice as much damage as anyone else on his team. A flank, a possibility. Svenskeren and Nisqy in from behind here. No flash on the Irelia. The Cocoon doesn't connect.
Yeah, they are going to be able to back off. C9 was not on vision there, so it was a good try. These are the kind of plays that they need to make. You get priority in the side lane, then you look to try to come from creative angles, so you're not just going straight up for the Garen. If you can catch someone in the back line, that is more of a fight that you can pile in on and maybe eliminate someone before Yuumi can kind of sustain them back up to health.
They have not drafted for the NA round. That part is clear, and they seem to be well aware of that, which is good to see. Licorice rolling through, taking over this red side jungle, and Crash walks up. He'll die quick.
Vision control very much in the hands of C9. The Cocoon's going to hit, but it's only onto Unified. Here comes the final chapter. Rooted up is Nisqy, knocked back by the cask, and Hong Kong Attitude disengaged.
But again, C9, you just can't go for that play. Great, you hit a Cocoon, but it's on the Garen. You need to recognize, have a little bit more patience here, that it's not going to work out because that is costing the flash off of Zeysal that is getting Sneaky down low on health and is losing them pressure on the map, right?
I think people are probably at this point, as they are on the NA side, getting a bit frustrated.
Yeah.
They have been ramming their head into this wall that is truly the Garen. Everyone else takes huge damage, but Garen, that is definitely his strong suit in resisting that. TPs come in, future purchases come in, and Cloud9 get the Baron they're so desperate for.
And I think Cloud9, you can see the frustration for them as well, right? Not being able to get access to these other targets and feeling like they need to go for it, feeling like they need to push for something like that. The question becomes, does Cloud9 maintain discipline, or do they try to overforce? Do they try to just rush down a Baron that is not necessarily going to be effective?
Well, it all comes back to what you said in Pick and Banners there. You were saying C9, they are not a siege comp. They need to make a team fight happen before they can look to take down these turrets. And that's what they've been trying to do over the last few minutes. Very unproductively. They haven't found the fight at all. But as you say, a bit of patience, a bit of vision control could pay dividends.
Right now, back to the wave clear, and we'll have to rate this Cloud9 Baron. They do control the entirety of the pit. One control ward can be cleared out. Licorice on the blue, and 3Z not wanting to just give it over for free.
3Z will get it. I do want to bring attention to the fact that Mission just finished his Infinity Edge on this Tristana. He is incredibly strong right now. But is he caught out? Svenskeren, Cocoon not quite going to land. 1,800 gold between the two teams. Hong Kong Attitude have not had control of their own jungle, but the control ward in the back of the pit has been there for a while. Now Cloud9 will spot it and clear it out, and we'll see what their next steps are.
And what Cloud9 want to do, and I'm sure LS is screaming about this somewhere, is try to coordinate the minion wave pushing into Garen with an invasion to try to get deep vision or catch someone. If they're not able to do that, it's free waves for the Garen, then he gets to be the one to walk up. If Garen's your wave clear and also stopping picks happening, that's actually a failure of how you've controlled the minions, and it's another reason the game is extending.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And, another problematic thing for them has been that they have not been able to actually establish control in the side lanes, right? Licorice is not actually having preferential trades against this Akali. He has not gone for any MR, has gone more for kind of the generic team fighting style bruiser build. And as a result, we are seeing 3Z take the better end of a lot of these trades and just constantly pushing out his opponent. And now is HKA looking for Svenskeren.
Now Nisqy will have a flank here. Mission has to jump away. Unified now turning back. Realizes C9 threat is from the side. The final chapter coming out. Cloud9 looking for that fight. The knockup's landed. Cocoon lands onto the Gragas as well. But already Svenskeren has had Demacy and Justice on his head. Zeysal in the middle of the fight is still alive.
Here comes 3Z.
Here comes 3Z. Mission on a rampage. Shut down on 3Z. Licorice takes it. Sneaky tries to flash away, but Mission crash. Unified and Kaiwing are still alive. The flash in from Licorice tries to get the damage in the Cold. The Meek not quite enough. He dashes out. The Sterax keeping him healthy.
Yeah, Cloud9 trying to go for it, but again, don't have the damage. And this villain mechanic that Unified actually had on Svenskeren, allowing him to knock him down so incredibly quickly, they're not able to punch through the Garen again. And when 3Z comes in from behind, Cloud9 did intelligently turn around to try to take him down. They were able to get the shutdown there, but this is now a death cap on Kaiwing. He is getting so ridiculously strong, and HKA are just playing the team fights out very well. The exhaust dropped on Svenskeren. He has no ability to actually turn and fight here.
He has to use repel onto the plant there even to escape the first time, but then he makes a crucial mistake, walks up again when Garen spells are up and dies. So it's the reality of being ultra squishy. They try to necessitate a fight from here, and the moment the Sneaky puts down the turret, you get to understand how the fights will play out against the melee divers. Mission's health bar low. Licorice was lucky that his health bar was so full. It's what allowed him to be relentlessly aggressive, but he doesn't get any value. And we're noticing a pretty sweet hat in the inventory of the cat.
Yeah, also sitting on the Magi, just getting more and more and more dangerous. Nisqy very close now to the death cap of his own, which is going to help them out quite a bit here. But it just feels like rinse and repeat for Cloud9, and I am having a lot of concerns about the way that they're playing out this game. It just feels like they're kind of ramming their heads into HKA the same way each time and not really getting a lot out of it.
Side lane practice in North America is something that people have lamented for years, and it's something that right now seems to be hurting them when it comes to a stage game. They haven't found a way to actually force too much out of HKA, and I'll actually argue that Nisqy, when he went in this large rod, we really liked it, but now he's kind of weaker than you could imagine because he can't walk up, he doesn't have a Zhonya's effect, and he doesn't have a huge burst of damage either. So at this present point, he has to be very scared about his position.
But if you want to rely on someone as Cloud9 in the late game, who better to rely on than the guy that's been to Worlds 7 times, that has the tied most games at Worlds of any player in the universe. Nisqy sitting up at 70 Worlds games played.
Yeah, and has made it out of groups so many times. This is a guy that certainly is constantly overlooked, underestimated, I think, when it comes to the international stage, but does always find a way to make it work. And, HKA looking for a win of their own here. Licorice is looking for the flank, but it's HKA going in.
Final chapter coming out. Unified now spinning his way out of the fight. Nisqy going forward. Licorice can get in from the side. The Vanguard's edge is great. Svenskeren jumping in. Crash going to get knocked up, but he goes golden. Unified still on the front line, stunned up. Here's Mission on the back line trying to get the damage down. Crash almost falling. Sneaky's gone down to 3Z, who got in from the side, but Unified has fallen as well. Zeysal trading with 3Z down towards the bottom side of this fight. One more auto might be enough, but Zeysal will be the one to go down. And C9 still have 3 players alive, while HKA have 4.
That could have been a great fight, but 3Z able to get on Nisqy and take him down. You called it out, Papa Smithy. No stopwatch, no Zhonya's to actually be able to save himself from that dive. He just gets knocked down, and 3Z able to limp away.
And now Hong Kong Attitude are in the gold lead for the first time in a long time.
They get the replay of this fight. This was almost the perfect scenario because Licorice got free backline access, got a nice flank angle that Hong Kong Attitude tried to lower down, and it was initiated by Hong Kong Attitude. That's why they were actually way further down than before, and some of the CC actually worked, but they can't actually finish any kills because they haven't actually necessitated flashes earlier, and in the resting state, like you mentioned, Zeysal, Heimerdinger is one of the people to go down fairly easily.
Certainly is. Death cap, though, completed for Nisqy, so big deal there. That is going to be a big damage boost for him. And certainly expecting him to be working towards the Zhonya's next. But it is quite far away. It's a fairly expensive item, and certainly when you are sitting grouped up, it's harder to get as much gold, it's harder to get as much farm.
At this point, I kind of want Renekton to run it down, take 2 people out, and then just jam a turret on Baron and try to rush down, because no other plan has worked, and that's what this build does do, is do more damage to Baron with the extra AP, because otherwise, a lot of other scenarios are looking very, very angsty. Inside of C9, Licorice decide to go on the flank instead. They're going to try this play once more.
Copy and paste here for Cloud9. Licorice will have 3Z. Face check into him, but there's Blast Cone there if he wants it. Licorice still on the chase with the slice and dice. 3Z goes into the Twilight Shroud, pops the Gunblade, but some good damage coming out from the Renekton right there.
But irrelevant, right? Look at the healing coming out there from the Yuumi, who is out of mana, so may have to reset, but I mean, almost immediately healed back up to full with that double Yuumi's charge.
It doesn't feel good to just zombie push run it down, but you watch the minion wave that was on the inhibitor turret, he would have got half of it at least, and then a couple people come, suddenly a Baron play can happen. You never want to give up a GA for freshly bought all your life necessarily, but the other result is very well explored at this point. They could plant a flag and it's not working.
Yeah, it certainly is not. And I mean, the question for me is just, can they even draw a second person? And now it feels like a little bit of desperation time here. Cloud9 just staying on this. Crash is in the area. This is incredibly risky.
Kaiwing has no mana. Svenskeren down to half HP, 3,000 HP on the Baron. Crash goes in, but Nisqy gets it. And now the fight really starts. Licorice looking for the backline access. Nisqy going to jump away. Mission on the chase. But Svenskeren's already taken down Crash. The Vanguard's edge has been used. Meanwhile, in the pit, C9 are being corralled into a choke point. 3Z, there goes Golden. Kaiwing is still sitting on Unified, but Unified will fall. 3Z goes down as well. Kaiwing just about survives on the backline, but C9 get the Baron.
Yeah, Cloud9 flip a coin, and it comes up heads for them. They are going to take that Baron on the 50-50. Very risky. It was neither jungler who secured the Baron. It is, in fact, Nisqy, I do believe, here with a turret. Crash gets into the pit, and that was ultimate and smite coming through. The smite wasn't even used by Svenskeren. That was just straight up risky, but it did work out.
And watch Mission, who has 4 items on Tristana, do 0 damage in this fight. The saddest Dragon Trainer Tristana you've ever seen. Walking left and right, happy 40 on the top side. They lost out on limitless damage from safety because he could never find access.
Yeah, I mean, there's Svenskeren having a laugh, but I agree. Had he actually, instead of chasing Nisqy, just joined in the fight in the pit, Cloud9 was actually against the wall. He could have been firing on them from over the other side of the wall into that pit. Instead, HKA just kind of ran into the meat grinder of all those Heimerdinger turrets and got shredded through. So Cloud9 finally, with a meaningful advantage in this game, they take down the inhibitor, but the question is, can they close?
Well, the all's well that ends well ending is now basically put in pencil, but it hasn't been inked. You're right. They haven't been able to close the game out here. They found a way to move the game forward. The plot development has come, but have we seen now the charge towards the end of the game? Because there's still work to be done. They all come in the same lane. It's still going to be tricky to break turrets.
Definitely is. HKA turn their eyes towards their second dragon of the game, and Ocean will be secured by them pretty easily. Let's have a quick look across where we are in terms of items. 10 stacks Medjais on Kaiwing, and HKA aren't going to give us time to talk as Svenskeren loses a third of his health to a single Q. Sneaky getting chunked out as well. Zeysal trying to be the bouncer. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Nisqy is pushing in on this Irelia, and Cloud9 are acting as bouncers for them.
Yeah, finally getting some sort of a side lane advantage there. Nisqy knocking down a turret. Cloud9 are going to try to shepherd in this mid lane where the inhibitor is already down, have the pressure of those super minions, and then look to get an advantage on this side. You can see Nisqy's up in the top lane. Svenskeren and Licorice are going to be kind of this roaming squad to try to draw in HKA and attack where they're weakest.
Their wave clear against Baron leaves a bit to be desired. Only Tristana can help in that particular gamut. Final winding comes in. 30 seconds left. The gold's there, but the turrets, that's the thing they're most hoping for. Gonna avert them for now.
And I mean, honestly, if you don't take down another inhibitor with this, you're kind of just back to start. You're kind of just back to waiting for the next Baron and trying these plays that have not been working for Cloud9 once again, because they have shown the unwillingness or the inability to play out the game in a different manner.
Turret down to half HP here in the top lane, though. Those minions are chipping away at it bit by bit. 3Z in the mid lane, going to try and keep these super minions at bay. But C9 very happy just to wait this one out. Another wave coming in, the Baron about to fall off. And you expect when that does, perhaps Cloud9 will back away. They have got a big wave in the mid lane, so perhaps could stay around from one more push. Unified going in. Svenskeren's dead. Zeysal may be short to follow as well as the final chapter coming out. Sneaky was rooted in place. Crash looking for the chase, but there's 2 for Unified. They've already taken down 3 now, and C9 have collapsed. They overstayed in the top lane. Nisqy trying to put the Vanguard's edge down, but he's getting chased out. GA popped, and perhaps pop goes C9's hopes of closing out this game.
Yeah, Hong Kong Attitude gonna wipe them off the map. 4 kills going the way of HKA there. A huge fight for them as they make the base defense happen. The Baron for naught. Cloud9 only gets the 1 inhibitor in the mid lane. They are not able to deal a death blow here to HKA, and we are back to start.
Gonna watch the replay of this attempt to close. The greed is there. Remember Baron buff recently going down. Plop down onto Svenskeren. Was that Garen ultimate. The double kill comes through, and Sneaky does not have Zhonya's still in this play, so he offers very little towards the tail end. GAs go down, efficiency is gone, and it's actually a little bit different than you lay out there, is we're not back to stage 1 because this cat has a very compelling read. 18 stack Medjais.
Yeah.
This is an insanely strong Yuumi, and can actually just go flat pen and say, well, I'm gonna pile on the damage.
I mean, I actually completely agree with you, and Tristana as well. You know, we're almost full build here, right? Sitting on the Last Whisper, that can be upgraded, certainly.
It's
but
there.
Bloodthirster is done, and now, yeah, the upgrade comes through. So this is a fully build mission here on this Tristana. That is absolutely frightening. You know, thankfully for Cloud9, Sneaky does complete the Zhonya, so that does come through for him. But, you know, they certainly have shown that, yes, the early game, great. Give them a check for that.
Yeah.
But this is something that, you know, becomes much more difficult. I actually do believe that Heimerdinger in the later stages is really such a different playstyle compared to the Marksman. It's very difficult to close out the games properly, and we're seeing that Cloud9, well, maybe they had the early game down. They certainly don't have this stage of the game figured out.
And that's why we can kind of go back to what I was mentioning about the Heimerdinger kind of two sides of the coin. Are you a Heimerdinger aficionado or not? I would say his laning much more impressive than we expected, but can Cloud9 win games with Sneaky's Heimerdinger? That leaves a lot to be desired.
I think we've moved from a position where we said a convincing win here for Cloud9 would be good in the state of Group A for them. They could challenge Griffin, they could challenge
that
G2. That ship has sailed. We're now debating, will they get third in this group? Will they actually be able to put up any sort of fight against G2 and Griffin later on? We'll see. It's only day one for this team, but now the final chapter's coming out from Hong Kong Attitude. Crash has already fallen, Unified force back, TP coming in. Licorice is going to join the fight, and 3Z isn't there yet. The knockback, Nisqy's taking down, Mission goes unstoppable, but Mission will fall, and C9 find the fight they want in the mid lane. Unified and Kaiwing trying to run away. The 20-page death book for Kaiwing is doing a lot of work. 3Z going to join the fight, but for now, C9 have just backed off.
Yeah, Cloud9 looking to move up towards this Baron. HKA had done such a good job absorbing the engages, but when they tried to engage there, they did give Heimerdinger that win condition. They pile into the turrets. The ultimate turret came down from Sneaky, and he had the Zonias. We'll see, can Kaiwing poke them off this Baron, though?
Sneaky, no flash. No Zonias, 3Z stepping forward, Kaiwing there as well. Baron goes down, but have Cloud9 sacrifice their lives for it. Unified still healthy, 3,000 HP on him. Sneaky goes low, no flash remember, but he's going to back in the back of the pit. Unified being chased down, the final chapter coming out once again. Unified will take the kill as Kaiwing gets one. Now he's going to jump onto 3Z, heals him up with the zoomies. Exhaust goes down on Licorice, Kaiwing jumps out, gets the shield back. Licorice on a double kill though, and Kaiwing has nowhere to go. C9 finally find the fight.
Cloud9 will get their kill, will get their Baron. The Elder Dragon is also up, but there's pings from mid lane. They want to try to run this one down. 50 seconds on the timer for 3Z. The question is, do you go mid lane inhibitor then to Elder, or do you take the risk to look to end this game?
Seems like Cloud9 have made their choice, but with Mission alive, it is going to be tricky. The cat finally falls. All of this with Akali not being able to respond during that hard engage onto Heimer. Sneaky walks up, and here we go. The death timer's still in double digits.
I think Cloud9 just wanted the mid lane inhib. Didn't want Licorice to be forced back, but if he was there by himself.
Yeah, it will be a move to the Elder. They take down that mid lane inhibitor once again here, and will look to grab this Elder. Remember, this is a double Infernal squad, so you're getting even more APAD injected to these nearly full builds here for Cloud9, as well as the true damage burn, which is going to be very effective, especially on this Heimer, who can poke and apply not only that Liandry's buff and burn, but this big Elder Dragon burn.
But we get one more. One more team fight between Cloud9 and Hong Kong Attitude.
You can do it, Medic. I believe in you.
Exactly, Medic. You got those big lungs. You're ready.
2 minutes on the Elder Dragon, minute and 40 seconds on the Baron. C9 pushing in bot. Hong Kong Attitude, last chance saloon, last defense you have to feel. Inhibitor Tower takes a little bit of damage as Svenskeren is finally going to join his team. It's down to half. HKA, you've had a couple of good fights over the last few minutes. Can you find another one? Can you pull a rabbit out of the hat?
Yeah, Licorice shoving in the mid lane, but they're looking to threaten a dive. Remember, this true damage burn may be what they need to push them over the edge, and that is a bad Zonias from Crash.
Crash pops the stopwatch, but manages to survive in the end. Sneaky takes him down, and Hong Kong Attitude are getting decimated in their base. 3Z trying to do something about it, but he's in the Twilight Shroud, pops his stopwatch, goes golden, jumps out, but Licorice is on the chase. Cloud9 should just look for the Nexus, should just look for the win. It's taken them probably 20 minutes more than it needed to, but now those Nexus towers are the target. Unified on the front line with Kaiwing, he's spinning, but he's not doing too much winning right now. Kaiwing's gonna jump back onto mission, but the Nexus will fall, and Cloud9 will eventually take their win.
It wasn't pretty, it wasn't quick, but a win is a win is a win, and Cloud9 will start out the group stage 1-0.
I have a saying in the LCK, exquisite performance, never in doubt, beautifully manicured victory for Cloud9. They took down Hong Kong Attitude on this day, and if you never watched the VOD, you can remember it that way.
And Papa Smithy, we have a saying in NA.
What is it, Zeysal?
We take those.
If you're Cloud9, you do, right? Like it was a poor performance. They couldn't work out the Rubik's Cube of how to fight against.
There are some
Unified and
kinks to
Kaiwing.
work out, it's fair to say.
Definitely some things to work on, but a win is a win is a win. And in the end, that win will stay there for the rest of World's history.
Certainly will. And, really, you're kind of left with some questions here, though, right? Certainly, Cloud9, does have the flexibility to pick up the Heimer. But, do they go back to something like this without a traditional marksman in another role? Do they say, yeah, okay, the Heimer was good, but we needed Tristana mid to actually make that happen? Because the early and mid game was strong, but they certainly failed to actually close out this game. And I think it was largely due to the strength of this Garen Yuumi and Cloud9's inability or unwillingness to actually play side lanes and just constantly trying to force those fights.
And that's what I hope that C9 can decouple from this really battling victory over Hong Kong Edges that I thought Sneaky was a good Heimerdinger, but overall, as the game went on, chose to build Nisqy Rod. They couldn't play to the item style he had when he didn't go for the Zonias. It all fell apart without a Tristana of their own to have a marksman elsewhere. So there's definitely learnings here, and maybe not the biggest tweaks to actually take this strategy forward.
Especially when the other teams in your group are G2, are Griffin. You need to make sure you're making minimal mistakes, if not no mistakes in those games if you're really going to challenge against some of the best teams in the world.
Yeah, it certainly is the case, but you can't read too much into just one game.
Oh, I can, Zeysal.
They got the win here today, but there are adjustments that need to be made. But we have seen that, across the first set of games for a lot of teams. Fun Plus, obviously. They wish they could have had that result.
They really do. That's it from us for now. We're going to hand over to World's Cooldown.